Hello.
Hello. I'm seriously hoping there's some naked Florida people because all my past week here, at Fantasy Gifts has been broken shit. So I want to learn something. I want to giggle. And then, I could even be appalled as long as it's nothing I have to deal with.
Okay.
I
think I have some stuff for you. There's some really interesting stuff that's happened recently. So, I want to start out with a really interesting idea for male birth control, inspired by, of all things, crazy cocktails. Which sex usually comes after crazy ingestion of cocktails, but this is pretty interesting. So, these researchers developed this medium-term reversible male contraceptives, and they've written about it in a medical journal. And this is so weird. I got to explain to you. And I need to look at the notes because this is really interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
So you either use something that's super short term for guys like a condom, or long term, which is a vasectomy. So condoms can fail. Vasectomies, are hard to reverse, and so they
not
want
as much anymore. But still, guys really don't like knives near their junk.
No.
And then there's something. Then they got their ego and the virility, and
Yeah, I know. So I mean, and if you can go less draconian, I'm all about it, right? So they were inspired by this cocktail, like one called the Galaxy. They layer colorful liquids in a glass, and then if the beverage gets stirred or heated, the layers combine into one uniform liquid. So what they did, they thought, wow, could we use this approach to inject layers of materials to block the vas deferens, which is the duct that conveys the sperm from the testicle through the urethra. So applying heat would cause the layers to mix, breaking them down and unplugging the pipeline. So they've tested it in rats, and it worked. And so next up, there's going to be a pilot experiment.
So if it would work in a vas deferens, would it work in a fallopian tube?
I don't know, but the vas is a lot easier to get to than the tubes.
Yeah, but still, that could be, some reversible, birth control that was not hormonal. They didn't say anything about hormones in any of that, did it?
But it did say, because it's actually a physical barrier. Yep. And but I have an IUD, and that was an awesome, positive, life-changing thing for me. So that's reversible too.
Yeah. You just take that little sucker right out.
Yeah. Not fun to get them put in.
They were not, everyone was freaking out when, in my really big sex years about the Doc-On Shield and all that sort of stuff. So they really weren't doing that. So I did I had the Norplant in the arm. Loved that. But then people started, freaking out over that because it left a tiny little scar, or someone put it in too deep. It's rarely the product. It's usually how someone's using it or dealing with it.
Yeah.
Loved that. But then that didn't exist anymore. And then there was the shot. Oh, that just about killed me.
Really?
Oh my God. I could have, if I had known that I hadn't had sex in like forever, I would have thought I was miscarrying. Oh
really?
My God. The cramps and the goo.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, we will not be doing this again.
Yeah.
So the idea of anything that is hormonal, is spectacular.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're working on it, and, it's going to be really, really interesting. And they're going to obviously have to conduct more research to verify safety for humans. But anytime there's effort placed into male contraception, I'm so happy. Because
did it say what country? I mean, going through there?
This was a team that it did. Hang on. I got to get back to my previous.
Well, the reason I ask about it is that a lot of this stuff, there's so little money going into research for anything in this freaking country right now because, knowledge seems to be not liked. Because I can see it, being approved all over the world, but people still panicking here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is U.S., but
thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be lovely.
Excuse me. So there's a new term that I haven't heard out.
Oh, please share. I gotta know.
It's not a fetish, though.
Oh, it's not a fetish. Okay.
No, it's more of a social trend, I guess you would say. Sleep divorce. Okay? So this is for people sleeping quietly. Let's start there. So it's this whole story is about a survey taken by probably a mattress company, I think. After a brief intermission to cough my face off, We're back. And
we have tea now. It'll be good. And now we can find out
what sleep divorce
is versus like podcast divorce. Because we just had that. We had a little separation. And now we're back.
We're back. Mm-hmm. So it's funny. I mean, I totally get this because there are couples that have a really hard time sleeping together. My first husband, and to this day, still has a horrible, horrible snoring problem. And, you know, he tried the CPAP stuff or whatever. And my first husband just basically, because he gets hot, I mean, he has all sorts of issues like that. Mm-hmm. So he just chose to sleep by himself. But he never gave me a choice in the matter in the beginning, you know. So that's among many reasons why we never really bonded correctly, I think, but whatever. Mm-hmm. But now people are doing this very logically. So maybe one person snores. Maybe one person gets really hot. Maybe,
or a different shift. I mean, different shift
that
work.
Too. That's in there.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And we're going to post this article on the Great Northern Sex Cast Facebook page because you should read it. It talks about the history of sleeping together. Mm-hmm. And it's really hilarious because it's really interesting. People slept, the whole entire family, including the farm animals.
Oh, yeah.
To keep warm and for safety. Then it evolved into the couples. Then the twin beds were, believe it or not, one of the first female sexual revolution thing because you didn't just have to be available anytime.
Yeah, so it wasn't just the Petries on the Dick Van Dyke Show that had the separate beds.
Well, I mean, Lucy and Ricky.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have slept in alone, like in a queen size bed for the most part for a very, very long time. Short amount of time, toddler, cat, stuff like that. But I find myself sleeping diagonal on it. Oh, now, really? I love my guy.
Yeah.
But when we're together, it's great. But I'm like, sometimes like, there's like a whole other human here. I'm like, I can't do what I want to do. I mean, I do sleep. It doesn't keep me from sleeping, but it's different.
Yeah.
You know, and then, but it's, but I can see that. But if you really, I mean, a restless leg syndrome or, the snoring, I could just see so many reasons. I mean, there's a house on my block that, from what I understand, was built with 2 master suites.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or possibility of 2, you know what I mean? Or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that in real estate listings.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Well, they cite facts from our research from the Centers for Disease Control, Colleen, and Prevention, and a couple other studies that talk about, look, if you guys aren't getting good sleep, they can link that to conflict within a couple.
Yeah, so. and all sorts of other stuff. I mean, you're not sleeping, your body is not healing.
Yeah.
And then just everything else gets, exaggerated. Pain, colds, flus, anxiety, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
You need sleep.
Sleep is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. This is really interesting. The New York Times, Health Day, the magazine Science, as well as another magazine called Live Science, they're all talking about this study that says, look, we tried really hard to find a gay gene. Mm-hmm. And they're saying that it's not a gene. Okay, so they looked at the genomes of 470,000 people looking for a pattern to explain sexuality, okay? And they did find 5 genetic markers deemed to be significantly linked to same-sex behavior, but they're not predictive of a person's preferences. And these variants account for less than 1% of the same-sex attracted people. Mm-hmm. So they say that there are thousands more genes that appear to play lesser roles, but they only explained 8 to 25% of the variation between people. And so they said it's, you can't sit there and say it's a choice, but you also have to realize that there's several different factors, and they haven't been able to scientifically
they can't figure it out. I mean,
prove it.
I always just figure it this way. At no point did I wake up and said, today I'm going to choose my sexuality. No. So if I didn't pick, nobody else picked.
I don't. Yeah, I disagree.
But it could be. But it doesn't mean that. Do you know how little we know about the brain? I mean, they always say that the outside of the body and the brain develop at different times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you have. Yeah. We are not. When you're that tiny little blob of cells with the potential for life, things are at different paces.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, and I would love to know whose brainchild it was back when the gay movement was starting to really form, like the 70s, I want to say. They called it a choice. That was such a bad decision.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of, it is really, I mean, folks, language, people say, it doesn't make a difference. No, language makes a lot of difference because then people glom on it and they twist stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating. But then again, there's also sometimes people make the best choices with the information they have.
Yeah.
Is going through there.
Right.
It doesn't make it, because it's a lot of different things. You just, just because I thought something when I was 20 does not mean that I think the same thing when I'm 50. And I'm sure that happens. That's why people keep researching the same things over and over, because a new thing happens over here and you think, well, how does that relate to what I'm studying?
Right.
And so I'm never really worried about what someone used to think. I think about how they change their ways over there. And I can see that too. If you're still using outdated terms, well, you haven't changed your thinking.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was so interesting because there was backlash within the gay community. Over that, because a lot of people disagreed with that portrayal. And I'm talking friends of mine who were actually gay, because they said, people said, well, why don't you choose to be different? They said, we really messed up with that one. Like that was really bad.
It was quite harmful.
But so it's kind of an interesting thing, but at the time they were just trying to break the walls down. I think
whatever. Okay, we can make a chink over here. Whatever whatever possible. When you're trying to get there's a lot of people who did a lot of really good things. The folks that started Planned Parenthood. Well, most of them were not really pleasant to women of color, but they did get birth control going into this world. So you just have to acknowledge both sides of it. Yeah. Nobody's a saint. Nobody's a complete sinner. We're going through there.
Speaking of women of color, I just watched the movie Hidden Figures. Have you seen that?
Oh, it's spectacular.
Oh my God, was that a great story?
What I always found fascinating too about any picture of period is the fact that these women are wearing period really uncomfortable underwear.
Oh God.
Think about it. And then they have to act through all this shit. And I just wonder how that works for women. Because from when I look back at everything, the guys don't nearly have as uncomfortable period clothing as women do.
No.
So they've got to get into this mindset, be this character, and just be, but it was an amazing film. Yeah.
Oh, it was crazy good. So if you haven't seen the movie Hidden Figures about the NASA
the woman who did the mathematicians.
They're amazing. And the actresses were so good.
Oh, that's it. Everybody in it is spectacular.
Yeah. That was just a great film. Apparently 1 in 3 women have been given the excuse that the condom was just too small. So let's not use it.
Yeah, you can put those suckers over your freaking arm. Even the smaller ones, because there is sizes. There are sizes.
Yeah,
but it is
yeah. So they actually the King's College in London did a study. They hired an engineering firm to see how much stress they could take, and it said 3 feet long by 1 foot wide. So let's cut the crap, guys. So yeah, and but then it goes into some more condom stats, Colleen, which are not good. Just 1/3 of sexually active British 18 to 24-year-olds always use condoms. 41% of sexually active people across all ranges do so. So the kids are removed from it.
They're removed from it because they are way, way away from a lot of sexually transmitted diseases. But we keep finding out that chlamydia is going up, gonorrhea, syphilis, HPV. You can get a vaccine for HPV now.
Yeah.
But then again, it can also be hidden for a long time. You can have it before it pops up.
Yep.
And I'm just like, no, use a freaking condom.
Yeah.
The amount of respect that shows for your partner is amazing. And if you say it feels different, you can put just the tiniest drop of lube in the tip, and that'll give believe me, it's not going to go sliding off. There's, but that will give a little bit more sensation if you want to do it. There's a lot of good stuff on that. There's a magazine, and I keep asking, it says you can't reproduce without permission, but the Sexual Health She magazine, Sexual Health something or another, just had an amazing article on. Now I'm coughing. had an amazing article on, condom use. And the fact that they still have to have this article, still have to have this sexual, health therapist talk about getting someone to use a condom when it's almost 2020, 40 years after, the AIDS was, recognized as an individual, disease and stuff like that. It blows my freaking mind. And they're not that expensive unless you're at Walgreens. Don't buy the condoms. No. Their larger packs are good, but their 3-packs are like $7.99, and we sell them for like $4.99.
That's Well, and honestly,
but you can get it for free at Planned Parenthood. There's a fishbowl on the counter of Planned Parenthood.
Yeah,
free condoms.
Free condoms. Yep. But the thing that gets me about this is that you and I were kids, young people, when the AIDS crisis hit the public consciousness. And even then, and boy, do you remember how terrifying that was? The news. Do you remember all that?
I remember people were terrified, but I just, I said, well, it's actually, I think I paid a little bit more attention as I started figuring things out. So maybe it wasn't but I also did a lot of reading. It certainly wasn't a freaky outy thing for me. Well, going through there
in California, where I grew up, it was big news all the time. I felt like it was always out there, and it was just like, oh my God. And then Magic Johnson came out with a diagnosis, and just all the stuff, and it just took, even with all of that, it took so long to get the public to really get it and to get the condom usage and the importance of it. And then when they really started figuring out, treatment, now something taught anymore, and here we are.
Yeah.
There
are antivirals out there, but that doesn't mean you cannot use a condom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really, you can use it in foreplay. You can put it on your partner. Your partner can do. There's so many things you can do as part of what you're going, that doesn't have to like break the rhythm or whatever is going on.
Right.
I don't know. I can't imagine possibly having, sex. If I was single with someone who just would say, no, bye. Total effing deal breaker.
Oh, yeah. For sure. This one, though, I wanted to address because I know you can speak to this. 1 in 10 in this survey said they did not use condoms because they smell weird. Do they have good brands that don't smell that funky? You know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, they have latex. Well, they do have vinyl and different condoms right now. And I have an amazingly sensitive nose, but it just never... Yeah, there's the scented ones, and then there's ones that have flavors, but we don't really sell a lot of novelty ones anymore. People just want something that's going to work. I've never had anyone ask me for a condom that talks about. They used to talk about the old, not vibrators, the old dildos that used to be made with all the phthalates and all that stuff. That sort of, you open up a shower curtain smell. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I can't say that anyone's ever...
Oh, I think I used to, they used to bother me. I did not use them, but I never, it's like, ugh. Oh.
Maybe
I'm 1 in 10.
No, yeah, maybe
I'm one and you're the other 9.
Maybe I was just, I'm like, and I can smell it almost anything. And I honestly, I cannot say I've ever thought about the smell of a condom.
Yeah.
Once it's used and wrapped up in the tissue to go, do not flush it down the toilet. But, then there's some scent.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yes. So we mentioned Daisy, the cat. She's a rag doll. She and her sister came to fame because, unfortunately, their owner passed away. And they ended up at the Mini Kitty Commune in Sydney, Australia.
Okay.
And they caused viral sensation because Daisy has a marking on her head that looks just like a penis. And it made it harder for the shelter because they had so many people. It was harder to deal with trying to do the adoption because you didn't know why they wanted her. Mm-hmm. Or, and they had to fend out the breed hunters and all the crap. But she's on a trial adoption with a very nice lady, both of them together.
My sister had a cat that had a very visible spot on it. We looked at it and said, your cat has a penis on it. She goes, yeah, I know.
What color and where was it?
I don't know. It's on the side. It was a white cat. And I can't remember whether it was a black or gray, shape. But I'm like, cat has a penis on it. Yeah.
What'd they name it?
Oh, God, I don't remember.
It wasn't like Dickie, right?
No.
Okay.
Because when it's little, you can't really tell. They're little and fluffy, and, that everything changed, stuff like that. And then as you get older, you're like, that's a dick.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My Fred the studio dog has an exclamation point on him, and it's very funny. Yeah. It's like right on his back. It's cute. So I don't know why anybody needs this.
Okay.
But a $1.25 million solid gold toilet has been stolen from the home where Winston Churchill was born. So it was made by an Italian artist, and it had been installed only 2 days at Blenheim Palace after having spent a nice tour of duty in the Guggenheim. And people could pay like $1 or something for or make an appointment. No, I'm sorry, they didn't have to pay to use the gold toilet. So they actually let people use it. Very popular. And people said, well, whatever you eat, whether it's a $200 lunch or a $2 hot dog, results are the same, but you're sitting on a gold toilet. But it got stolen, and they do have a 66-year-old man arrested, but no motive yet reported.
It's a gold toilet. Mm-hmm. Did they get it? Did they get it back?
It doesn't say. It does not say if they got it back.
How much you want to bet that someone slapped like the word like Johnson and Sons plumber and pulled up in front of the building and walked in? Because if you have like a clipboard or a jumpsuit or something, a toolbox, you just act like you're supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how I got backstage at Disney. This is long before 9/11. That's how I got backstage at Disney, to go visit a friend of a friend, and then I got a tour.
Clipboard?
I had no clipboard, but the instructions to me were like, walk down Main Street, turn right into Tomorrowland, go over to the Pan of Progress, show. There's a door on the right. Walk through it like you belong there, and then his office is like the third on the left or something like that. It was a long time ago. I'm sure everything's since then. But I did that. Nobody stopped me.
There you go.
I just walked backstage at Disney World. It was hilarious. I like just
What's your take on like marine life, like seals?
I want them at a distance.
Okay.
Because I have, I've been in like San Francisco, and I've seen them all over the wharfs, and then I've been, and you go to like different places, and I'm thinking, that is wildlife. Mm-hmm. Most of it's bigger than me. Yeah. And I think I'm going to stay a safe distance from it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think they're so fun to watch.
Oh yeah, but I'm from a distance.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And okay, for sure. Well, this one, and see if I think I'm going to do this thing where we have an opportunity at the Minnesota Zoo where you can go like, pay a significant amount of money to go like to the penguin experience backstage and feed the penguins and all. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do that. If I could do it with the seals, I totally would, but I would want a trainer there. Mm-hmm. But this one particular seal broke up an international drug smuggling ring. I'm not even kidding. So the seal prevented the getaway of 2 foreign nationals, so they weren't Australian, from a small island off the Geraldton coast. Apparently, their drug-running boat had run aground, and they were trying to get away in a dinghy. Mm-hmm. But it got up and, bellowed at them, and they have big teeth and they're strong. And regardless of how roly-poly they look, they can be very fast, right? Mm-hmm. And the seal started after them, and then there were the cops, and they had the choice of trying to run through the seal or get arrested, and they chose getting arrested.
Yeah. So, I would, because they are carnivores.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They could hurt you. But I think that's just absolutely, they woke him up and he went, roar, which is just fantastic. You look busy over there.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I thought you were looking.
We have a phone. Yeah, we have my sister had a knee replaced, so she's working from home.
Okay.
And we had a phone die for one of my employees who I need to be able to get a hold of and stuff like that. And so she's trying to get it taken care of, but my sister is the person that's like the head honcho of the phone land.
Okay. So
we're trying to do all this stuff. And then and she's on pain meds. So she just texted me saying, I texted the employee, but of course the phone doesn't work. She's like, yeah. So and I really would like this person to have her phone working.
Yeah.
So today has been sorry about that. It's just been a major, but I'm just like, I keep thinking seal, because they're really cute when they're tiny.
Oh God, they are fun.
I mean, if they had been baby seals, I probably would have gone, running towards them.
Little harp seals. Yeah. Something like that. But yeah.
Those I want to snuggle. I don't want to get anywhere near. I can understand. I understand the choice. I completely understand the choice.
Sea lion. Here's the story you've been waiting for your day. Right here.
Okay, yes, because really all I'm dealing with is broken shit. So
a Florida couple.
Florida couple. We have Florida man. Is it Florida man, a Florida woman, or is it one of each?
It's one of each.
Okay.
A Florida couple are facing multiple charges after they started having sex in the back of a police car after they were already under arrest for DUI.
So, in other words, okay. The officer was nice enough to put them in the same car.
Yep.
One of them had to not be cuffed. Obviously they didn't do that.
It doesn't sound like from the description.
No. And so they just that's an enormous. I'm surprised. I'm glad they didn't hurt anyone, because if you're still that wasted after the whole process and adrenaline rush you get from being pulled over and arrested, that you think it's a good idea to have sex. Honestly, that is hilarious.
Okay, well, let me just add a couple good details to this.
Okay.
They were arrested for DUI for riding bikes without lights in Fernandina Beach. And so they cut into the middle of the road. They were almost hit by a car. So that's when the cops said, okay, threw them in the car. So it's not like they were driving a vehicle, but they were still impaired.
Yeah,
so maybe that's why they weren't cuffed, right?
Yeah, okay.
So they threw them in the back, and they were just sitting in the patrol vehicle. And the two started going at it. So here's the quote from the cop. When I opened the door to stop them, Erin was naked and Megan had her pants down. I could see her vaginal area. I also observed her bra was halfway off and her breasts were fully visible. And after he said, you have to stop, she became violent and started kicking at another deputy, and they had to finally cuff her. So they had so many opportunities here. So many.
That is an amazing amount of bad choices. I mean, just all the way down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a quota for a lot of. I mean, they used them like, maybe they've used them all up, and going forward. Yeah, well, fuck it. No, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
No.
I'm gonna vote that they're both kind of doorknobs.
Yeah.
Okay. This is weird. A nearly naked man has been arrested on Interstate 5 just north of Los Angeles. He was butt naked, and he was recorded on video running after a school bus on a highway in a traffic jam, pounding on the door to try to get into the school bus. Here's the good news. The kids were at school, and it was the drivers going back to the ranch. So it was adults. And they said, they were watching, and the guy just started getting closer and closer. I have no idea why he approached, and we never opened the door. I wouldn't open the door to a screaming naked person on a freeway. Would you?
No. There'd be a lot of 911. I have to admit, I might not drive away. I might, stay until
somebody came to get
them. Because I found out, the person wasn't naked, but I was driving to pick up my daughter and her friend years ago when they were younger from a movie. Old enough to go to a movie by themselves, but not drive there yet, right? Yep. And I'm driving around the Southdale area, and I saw a gentleman that was not young walking, and I'm like, it's cold out. Jacket, no gloves, no hat, and the shoes just look like normal shoes. And I'm like, no. And he's sort of wandering, and I'm like, there's a lot of senior living places around here, and some of them might be. I'm like, oh, that's it. So I did. I didn't want to freak him out or anything, so I dialed 911, and I just sort of drove behind him.
Yep.
And I kept saying 911 where he was, and then when I saw the officer come, and then I pulled away and went and picked up my kid.
That's actually very kind.
I'm like, this doesn't this does not look right. It just, yeah. Mm-hmm. It was dark, cold, and it was not dressed properly.
No.
The mom and me just totally kicked it. Not right.
Yes. Yeah, and he could have accidentally.
I wouldn't have let him let person on the bus, but I wouldn't have gone away until someone arrived.
Absolutely not. I can't imagine being the first responder to this next one, honestly. There's a building in Australia that had an explosion and wiped out more than 100 cryogenic cylinders filled with bull semen. Caught fire, took 10 crews 2 hours to contain this. And the cylinders of bull semen were worth thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
thousands.
Yeah, I mean, most cows don't actually have sex anymore.
No.
They're all, they're
artificially
inseminated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That way they can control what's going where and nobody gets hurt and they don't get hurt and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they're going into the season and they said it was just absolutely,
sure
brutal. It's going to be really hard on their season. Fire officials said the blaze was challenging because the semen inside the cylinders was rapidly expanding and the lids of the cylinders were just popping off and projectiles were being thrown from the building. So here these guys are at an already dangerous job and they've got vials of bull spoo flying at them.
Yeah, well, at least, I know they all have plastic masks right now, but it had to be that moment of realization must have been
bull splooge on you.
Must have been like, is that? I mean, there's no way there wasn't. I mean, it's their job, but there had to be just the nanosecond of a pause where they went, "Well, this is different," and then kept going with their job. Oh my. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's when you're like really like sometimes you just wish there were cameras placed. Because you're like the look, the realization look must have been spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and God love them for doing it.
Oh, that's
the first responders.
I have a friend who just became a firefighter. He decided to do that in addition, with other stuff he's doing.
That's amazing.
And I'm just like, oh my God,
that's a crazy life, man. It's very dangerous. And so many of them die young from inhalation-related illnesses developed later.
This guy's already my age, so going through there. And so I'm like, it just fascinating. I'm like, you're doing what? We're like, because he's a very humorous guy. So we're like, when he first said it, I was like, oh, where's this going? I'm like, no, he's actually doing it.
That's great.
So it's pretty awesome.
That's really cool. So this is interesting. Ohio State University did a study that concluded, women who shave or wax their pubic hair are not more likely to get chlamydia or gonorrhea, according to new research that challenges other studies suggesting that so-called extreme grooming increases the risk of sexually transmitted diseases. Yes.
That makes no. Okay, I mean, the stuff they were refuting makes no sense.
Well, no, I mean, did you read some of that? It said, all this extreme grooming, the hair is supposed to keep the
Well, no, I mean, the hair is there for protection and stuff like that, but I can't, but I suppose if you have like open wounds or something, but most, I don't know too many people that are going to go have sex if they had a waxing accident anyway. So
yeah. Well, it was kind of
nice to know.
Yeah, I mean, because
I'm gonna have to tell my cousins that their alma mater is doing amazing research.
Well, yeah, it was just kind of interesting because they said, unlike other studies, this one relied on laboratory confirmed STD diagnoses. They also said previous research had asked participants if they'd ever had an STI, but didn't measure whether they had it at the time of survey, and this just cleared up the science.
Yeah.
So,
in other words, someone read this and went, probably with my brain, and went, well, what about this?
Right.
Saw the massive flaws in it.
Yeah. And by the way, this story actually has the stats. Listen to this, Colleen, because you referenced it earlier. There have been about 2.86 million new cases of chlamydia and 820,000 of gonorrhea in the United States each year, many of which are teens and young adults, according to the CDC.
Yeah. Condoms.
Yes. So have you ever, given some clothes that your kid outgrown to a neighbor?
Yeah, there was when everyone was having kids there for a while, there was some Hannah Anderson adorable outfits that went through like 5 girls because these things do not, get messy. I mean, they clean up like crazy or they grow out. I had the greatest pair of shoes. At one point, I'm like, I had so much stuff. I'm like, I want to buy, I want to buy something for my own kid. And then when it was all done, had it all washed and went on to the next, kid.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, this is a typical thing, and it's awesome, actually. Yeah. But a woman just moved in and became, kind of friends with a neighbor. They had tea a couple times a week and coffee, but never went out socially. But this neighbor said, "Here's a bunch of clothes that my son outgrew," and she was so excited because it was a tremendous help. But she popped the bin of clothes out, and there were 2 dildos in there.
That's where they had stored them.
Yeah.
I forgot they were there. I was really wondering whether or not it was going to be like bondage wear or sex toys.
Nope, sex toys.
Sex toys, yeah.
Yeah, and she goes, no boxes or bags, just in there. And she's not sure whether to give them back or throw it away. And so she went on a forum, and some of the suggestions were pretty damn funny. Back. And she's like, give them back. They're expensive. Or somebody said, just give them back wrapped up or, all that kind of stuff. What do you think somebody should do?
If they were there and she forgot about them, they were probably older and she didn't know what to do or she got distracted. I think I just would have thrown them away.
Yeah.
Because the other person's going to think, I tossed those or I did something. You know what I mean? They're just, it's not going to occur to them, oh my God, and you just ignore it because the other person never asked. You can say, yeah, I threw them. I forget they were old. No one's going to, but they're not going to ask.
See, exactly. No. I think everybody can just sweep that one under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that we've talked about polyamorous relationships, now and again. But there's another article about one, and if they're happy, that's fine. But wow, I don't get this. This is a guy basically, and he's got 3 women, and they all live together, and he's got kids with each of them, and they all have separate bedrooms. And the guy says, "Yeah, I get to sleep in all these different bedrooms." He's told them that they can have boyfriends, but this quadruple, I guess you'd call it, have been together for a long, long time, and he already had the 2, and he met the 3rd one on a dating app. And I'm like, okay.
I don't understand how people have the energy for that.
I don't either.
Where you get the mental entry. I mean, but then again, once again, every brain is different. You don't know the brain. And to some extent, I mean, then, I used to think, well, is that unequal? What's going on through that? And like, then again, each one of those women only has to deal with the guy like a third of the time.
Yeah.
So, they've got a part. He's got 3 people he's got to deal with. They each have 1. Well, technically the other 2 are, in there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I sort of get that whole, it takes a village. I mean, they're just going for it right there in their own home.
Mm-hmm. They've got a village in their house.
Yeah. I mean, and it sounds as though it's, fairly equal, unlike a lot of things that can be, that aren't equal, where a woman is thought of as less man, but I just... Because I know folks, in relationships, and it's usually, it's a married couple, and they each see, or they have one other person, or, but it's not a full-time, most of them are not full-time live-in like this. Mm-hmm. They just have significant, relationships, and everyone's fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I just have, know how much work it is to have one. Mm-hmm. And I can't get my head around this, but I'm not judging.
Yeah. I mean, I have one. I don't even have one in my house. Right. And it's an enormous amount. I mean, and it's lovely and it's wonderful and it works for me, but just think about how many birthdays you got to remember. And I used to be really good at birthdays. I don't mind. And then parenthood happened and that shit went right out the window. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a crazy deal. No. So I don't know. To me, good for you, but no, thank you.
Yeah, too much work.
So, all right, it's getting to be that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
where is the busy season like now already, or is it coming for fantasy gifts?
Well, now it's there's a lot of anniversaries, bachelorette parties, or at least there was like in August and September. And it sort of goes into October. November, people are busy doing stuff. And then you get Christmas, and then you go right into Valentine's and stuff like that.
And it goes fast.
Yeah.
Goes really fast.
Yeah. We're just trying to get, we're just, sort of gearing up for, Halloween tends to be a pretty good week for us.
Mm-hmm.
People have parties and do different things and stuff like that. And then we have a little bit of a breather, and then we're right into Christmas.
Yep.
And just hoping that things don't get too expensive, because most of our stuff had a bunch of tariffs plunked on it. So
really, did you feel it as a business?
Yeah, I can't absorb that. So we're working on what we can do different and go through there, and some things we might not just carry, because we know they're going to hit a price point that does not work for our customers.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So last week we talked about what's new again. What's the best new thing this week at Fantasy Gifts?
We got in some new. I saw some new vibrators in there, and I've got this here. Just hold this for a moment.
Hold my beer. Okay, you bet. I got it. Okay, if you got something new.
I'm just running over. It's actually on my desk.
Oh, cool. Oh, it's purple. Okay, what do we have here?
Okay, what we got in, of course, I'll describe something on talk things. It's the it's a BFF collection, and it's from, who's it from here? Main Design. I'm lost what company it is. Oh, Impulse Novelties. Okay, it is a thrusting vibrator, and it has beads in it, but it's way at the tip. So a lot of times it's down a little bit, and it's purple. It's got a little bunny attachment to it. It's rechargeable. It's $85, but it's silicone rechargeable, the whole deal.
Let me see that.
And I'm gonna.
So a thrusting vibrator. Can you turn it on so I can see it?
Here we go.
Okay, let's see what. Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, son of a gun.
Yeah,
we got to take a picture.
If you hold this for a second, I can probably do a 10-second live thing on my phone.
Okay.
And let's see what we need. We need to find my Facebook app.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm checking this out.
See how it sort of twists and goes
up? Oh, yeah. That's pretty neat. That's pages. Some serious engineering.
Turn the volume on.
There you go.
We've learned. I've done that. Look, there's the Great Northern Sexcast.
There we go.
And then I get to do create a post.
Okay.
I get to hit.
We're making. Here we go.
Allow access. Microphone.
That's pretty crazy.
And we'll go back. Oh, cool. Damn Facebook. Oh, Jesus Christ. Really hot.
That thing is just hilarious. It looks like it's dancing. Look at it. Whoop, whoop. Okay, we got it.
Live video.
There it is.
Come on.
Are we streaming? Oh,
why is this not?
You've gone live before.
Starting live video. Tap to description. I have no idea whether this is doing it or not. I'm going to turn this around, and you can sort of see what's going on. I'm going to pop back here. If I press this, wait a minute, starting live video. Ah, here we go.
Okay, so
I'm such a doofus.
And then
live. Okay, so this is me. This is not the vibrator. My head is not spinning and going up and down. So I'm going to turn this around, and you're going to see that it's spinning and going up and down. And you got the little rabbity thing there, and there's a whole bunch of buttons down over here. You can make it do different things. Let me see, what do we got here?
Oh, different speeds.
Different speeds and a whole bunch
of stuff.
So that's what it is. This is what the...
oh, this is going really fast.
Yeah, the package...
It's like...
Yeah. And it's really funny. If you put it down here, we can maybe...
There you go. That thing is pretty neat. And it's $85?
$85. I'm going to finish this right now. There we go. They don't need to see that. There we go.
Okay, we put it on...
Not our
most elegant
thing. But I was like, wait a minute, it was right here. I thought about it. And so.
I've never seen one like that. Is this technology new?
We've had thrusters. I'm trying to talk
to
the vibrator. Oh my God, we're busting ourselves up here. So we've had thrusters before, and we've had ones that had beads, but not in the top.
Oh, in the bottom.
Yeah. It's usually a couple of inches down, and then it's about the top. So this came in. I was really excited about it. I meant to write a blog about it, and then the dumb blog thing
crashed.
It's there. It's there. You can get to everything, but the theme's not there. The pictures aren't there. It looks like some sort of 90s thing with all the words on the side. You know what I mean? Some old. I mean, the fantasygiftsmn.com is still there, and I'm sure by the time this gets on the air, everything's going to be fixed. But oh my God, I spent hours on the phone, and as far as I know, it's still not fixed. But so I was going to write about this, so now I just did some random freaking video on here, and I think it worked out okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So my friend already commented.
Oh, what'd she say?
I don't know. What did he say? I'll have to figure this. Oh, crap.
Well, we'll check it out. Check us out again next week on the Great Northern Sexcast. And definitely go to the Great Northern Sexcast Facebook page and check out the video.